Alright everybody, Jeremy with Full of Sit Dog Training here, and we're going to try something new. Okay, so I know I've been slacking on posting content online, and I'm going to try to fix it. So what I've decided to do was once a week I'm going to pick a question, either from Facebook, Instagram, somewhere like that, some kind of social media platform. I'm going to pull a question and address that. It's going to be a question geared towards dog training, obviously. But these are questions that a lot of people ask. Pretty frequently, we get these same questions over and over and over again. So what I'm going to do is try to address them one question a week. I should be able to do that pretty easy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and roll right into the first one. I'm going to post the questions up here so you guys can read along with me if you'd like. And let's get started. Alright, so the first one. I have a question I need help with. I have a 15-month-old yellow lab mix that is somewhat trained. Knows his commands. Sometimes it may take a few times of me saying what I want him to do before he complies. I'm okay with his training. However, as I was the one to work with him with the trainer, he does not listen to my husband at all. If my hubby wants him to come in the house, he will say, "Riley, come," several times, and then he has to coax him inside with a treat. Or I have to go and yell, "Riley, come," before he comes in. I don't want to hire a trainer again. Any suggestions? Thanks. Alright, so let's break it down real quick. They say he knows his commands, but I'm going to second guess that. If he knows his commands, he would probably comply with them. Okay? So let's start asking why. Why isn't the dog complying? They go on to say that they repeat the command a few times before he complies. So that's something we actually don't want to do. When we're training a dog, we don't want to get in the habit of repeating the command over and over before we actually get the dog to do it. This actually teaches the dog to ignore the command instead of listen to it and comply with it. So those of you that have worked with me know when I first come out and I'm getting a dog to do some very basic behaviors, a sit and a down and a come and that kind of stuff, I don't even ask the dog to sit right away. I break out some treats and I lure the dog around and I get them sitting for food without ever actually saying the word sit. The reason for that is I want to make sure that the dog is going to do the behavior before I start trying to pair it to a word. Okay? If I don't do that, then I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot, and I may put myself in a situation where I find myself repeating the command, and that doesn't do me or the dog any good. So, say the command one time, and then you have to get the dog to comply with the command, okay? Get the dog doing the command first before you try to hurry up and put a name to it, all right? And then they go on to say this person was the one to work with him with a trainer, and so the dog doesn't listen to their husband at all. And that's a pretty common thing. Again, I tell my clients all the time, anybody that you expect the dog to listen to needs to be working with the dog. Okay, you have to form a relationship. You have to get the dog wanting to work for you. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So pretty typically what we see is whoever brings their dog to training is typically the one that's training the dog. So they're interacting with the dog more so than the other people in the house, all right? So that dog forms a nice, healthy relationship with that human that's doing all the training, and then they don't want to listen to anybody else, okay? And that's a relationship issue, okay? If we think about it, humans are the same way. How many of you parents can tell your kid to do something, hey, go clean your room, and they do it? But if a stranger was to walk into yourself and say, hey, little kid, go clean your room, the kid's going to look at them like, whoa, I don't know you. What are you telling me to go clean my room for? Okay, and they're probably not going to do it. So the same thing here applies to the puppy dogs, all right? So the way to fix that is if you want the dog to listen to your hubby, get your hubby involved in training the dog. The third part I'm going to address, okay, the husband has to coax the dog in with a treat, which is perfectly fine. That's what I would be doing anyway. But again, Make sure your husband has the dog's attention. Say come, and then lure the dog inside with a treat, or lure the dog to you with the treat. And repetition, 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 and then the dog will start working for your husband also. All right. I don't want to hire a trainer again. Okay, that's fine. If you already know how to train your dog and get your dog working with your husband, and you're not repeating commands, and you're not making a ton of mistakes, then that's fine. Don't hire a trainer again. If you're having problems with all of that stuff, then you probably need a trainer. Okay? Sorry, that's just the way it goes, right? If my car is making a funny noise and I go change the oil in it and it continues making that funny noise, maybe I should take it to a mechanic, get it fixed. All right. So, any suggestions? Yep, I just covered them. Okay, have your husband work with the dog. Stop repeating commands. One command, one behavior. Okay. Use lots of rewards, right? Make the dog want to work for you. And the same thing goes for your husband. Don't have him repeat commands trying to get the dog to come back inside. And, you know, I get it. You don't want to hire a trainer again. You don't want to spend more money than you already have. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. All right. So if you need to, suck it up, get a trainer, and take care of the dog.